I will be attempting to replace the oil catch can with the Z bracket from the RT setup over to the Hellcat transition kit by Billet. So the difference mainly is the Z bracket will need to be changed out to the straight bracket here, and the hoses are two different lengths. So let's see how this goes. Hey, what's up YouTube world? It's Ryan from Riding in Style. So today I am going to be attempting to switch out the oil catch can from the setup for the RT that I had purchased earlier with the anodized red Z bracket to the conversion kit for the Hellcat from Billet. So I'll be switching to a straight bracket, and then I'll just have an extra Z bracket here if anyone is interested in possibly purchasing this Z bracket alone in the anodized red. Go ahead and leave a comment below. I may be interested in working that out as well. So I already have the braided hoses here with the color match fittings. So when I opted to buy the conversion kit, I just got the regular hoses. I figured I would just try to use the hoses that I already have, but as you can see, they are two different lengths. And then also the diameter on the inside of this hole is a lot bigger for this hose versus the ones that come with the conversion kit. It's a thicker rubber, but I don't know about these fittings, so I'm going to see if these fittings would fit in the braided hose, and then I actually may have to cut the braided hoses to match the lengths of these. So yeah, it's just kind of a figure it out as I go. My intentions when I bought it was to just use my braided hoses since I already have them here, but when it came in I thought, uh-oh, they're two different lengths, and then I will just have to probably just cut it, and hopefully it works. So this is what the Hellcat conversion kit looks like. It's two different clip-on style fittings there, along with the new lock washer and the straight bracket, the anodized red. So we will see how this goes. So what I've done so far is I've removed the old brass fittings from the braided lines here. That way I can use the these hoses, and I'm going to try to do a quick comparison. But what I did notice is that this hose diameter is a little smaller than that of the provided thicker rubber ones. And I guess what I'm trying to say is the color match fittings are the exact same size as the rubber hose, so it's not, you can't use the brass fittings with the hose that they provide unless you upgrade to these, the braided hose. Now I want to see if the new fittings will actually fit in the braided hoses, or if I need to use the standard rubber hoses. I really hope they fit. Let's see. Alright, I just did a quick fitment test, and to be honest with you, it fits so good in the braided hose that I could not take it back out. So just take a note from me, if you have color match fittings, put these guys on first. Now I mean, I was just literally trying to see if it would fit, and it just got stuck in there. Like, I could not get it back out. So here we are, learn from my mistakes. Everything is done in real time. This is as real as it gets, guys. So I will put this on now. Good news, fittings do fit in the braided hoses. So hopefully I won't be needing these, but I will be using these to measure the braided hose to see how much I need to cut. Now I'm kind of debating on keeping a little bit extra just for a little more flexibility. And the good news is that this hose does feel a little more flexible than these suckers here are really thick, like they're not going to move. So if you need to bend them even a little bit, I would say invest in the braided hoses if you decide to go this route. And if you're a style person, you want to keep things looking clean, Of course, the color matched fittings are a nice touch. Now, as a short comparison here, the shorter braided hose is slightly longer than the long rubber hose. So I guess I'm hoping that this would work, and I won't know until the install. So what I'm thinking of doing is maybe just cutting the longer braided hose to match the shorter hose and keeping this one uncut. Well, we'll see. You're gonna see how this turns out. Stay tuned. This is the grade of rubber that is being used, which is, I mean, in my opinion, great quality. And that's the specs for the SAE hoses. All right, here we go. I got one shot at this. Surgery is complete. Doctor says we'll be fine. Nice clean cut there. We're almost ready to put this bad boy on. Problem solved. I finally got the fittings turned down to where I need them to. Now it's time to finally install the oil catch can into the Hellcat. So we're actually going to see a merge of two videos from the time when I tried to first install this in Texas and I ran across the issue of not being able to get these loose, all the way until several months later now that we're all stuck at home, catching up on some little projects. It's time to install the oil catch can. So it wasn't a seamless process. In fact, a huge shout out to my dad to assisting me using his vise at his house to help me break the seal. These were on really tight. Now this is part of the conversion kit. Okay, so the first step, we are just going to pop off this engine half cover here, and it just pops right out. Moving this to the side. And the only hose that we're actually removing is going to be this hose right here. And this is it's a push clip that pops out, and then this one actually is another push clip there. I'm going to actually use two hands. So for those of you thinking of doing the conversion kit or just installing a Hellcat catch can, this is the hose you'll remove, and there is a little pin back here that's a little tricky to get to if you don't know where it's at. You just need to push it to your right and it lifts up. That's the pin right there. You just need to slide it over. And then this one here is also like a push button on the side to loosen it up, and we'll get that one out as well. Yeah, we can smell it coming. Now we got the tropical rain.
It's gonna be awesome.
Y'all remember the little man right here? Zeke? Say hi, YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Got the hose out, and it's a wonderful thing to have this be sitting dry in the cave over here. Alright, so this hose here, same thing, just a little push button there. It's a 2017, guys. Not everything's going to be shiny and polished, but we try. So anyway, that's the hose being removed. Now, when it comes to actually installing the catch can, I'm debating. I might just do the bracket first, put that on there, and then put the catch can onto the bracket. It might make it a little easier to tighten the bolt, the screw, but I don't know. Still debating. You'll know what I decide to do in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Decided to do the bracket on first because if you try to install the catch can with the bracket on later, you won't have enough room to screw this screw in. So learn from my install here. Now it's time to mount this on there. So we have the washer, and then this is a 17 millimeter ratchet right there. Be very careful when you start putting these on. I had one hand underneath and I was installing it with the other hand just because drop any one of these if you don't have a spare, it's just going to be into the engine abyss down there. The trickiest part, believe it or not, was just trying to screw this thing based on the ratchets that I did have. I had to use the long extension and actually come under here, just to get the nut here tightened. But it's tight enough, it ain't gonna move, and that's pretty much where we want it. And now the next step is installing the hoses. So these are the two hoses that were provided with the conversion kit. So the longer hose will have the L fitting and will actually go from the outside here and connect to this one here, and then the shorter hose will connect from there to this one down there using the straight fitting. And so these clamps here will actually go into the grooves right there, and there's another groove on the other side that we'll just line this fitting up with, and it should actually click in place. Let's see. Not really. Actually, I think it just sits on it, because if you look closely, that piece doesn't even go all the way down here. So I'm thinking it may just sit on the end fitting there. So I did need to trim off about a couple of inches on the short hose to give it the right length to go straight from the engine to the catch can. And this is really a wait and see on my guesstimation before I cut. Hopefully it's the right length. Little pro tip, we just loosen this enough where you're able to tilt it back. I would highly suggest getting this fitting in first, and then it actually makes it a lot easier to come down here and then stick this fitting in there. And we tilt it back up, and then this should go straight in that way. There we go. So we got the hose in there and out here. Everything's in pretty tight, pretty snug. And we do have our uninterrupted access to the catch can there. Alright guys, so once we get the hoses where you want them, then I just set this back up straight, re-tighten the nut there so that it doesn't give as much leeway. And there we have it. It took a little while. It takes a little bit of trimming, little ingenuity. Again, these were the hoses provided. They're probably a lot closer to the actual size needed, but I like the braided look better. Plus it's a little thinner hose, which makes it easier to maneuver. So if you decide to get the Hellcat catch can or just a conversion kit, it might be worth investing in the braided hoses, not just aesthetically, but I mean, look at these things. Look at how thick that rubber grade is. I mean, it's just like a pain to try and manipulate, but it's possible. It all comes down to what you want your engine bay to look like. Speaking of that, I got some cleaning to do since we got the covers off, but thank you all for watching. This is the install of the Hellcat catch can with the billet set conversion kit, and this is also Ryan from Riding in Style.
Yeah.